Find the approximate value of the cubed root of 63.76. The first thing to do is identify the x value that is being operated on. That will be x equals to 63.76. The next thing to do is identify the function that is evaluating upon it and call it f of x. Since it is the cubed root of 63.76, f of x will be the cubed root of x. The third thing to do is identify a value near the x value of 63.76 and call it a, such that it can be evaluated easily in the function f of x, which is the cubed root of x. So we will want a perfect cube that is near the x value of 63.76. 64 is a perfect cube. That will be the choice for a. We can find the linear approximation to f of x. We need f of x as well as its derivative, f prime of x. So now we will find the derivative of f of x. Before we do that, let's rewrite it as a fractional exponent. The cubed root of x can be rewritten as x to the first power third root, x to the 1/3 power. So its derivative, f prime of x, will be a power rule. Bring the power down, leave the inside alone, subtract 1 from the power. I will call that 3/3, and then multiply by the derivative of the inside to complete the chain rule. Derivative of x is a 1. 1/3 times a 1 is a 1/3. X raised to the 1 minus 3, negative 2/3 power. Since we have a negative exponent, it can move to the denominator with the 3 that's already down there to become a positive 2/3 power. We now can evaluate f of x and f prime of x at the a value of 64. F of 64 is the cubed root of 64. That equals to 4. F prime of 64 is 1 over 3 times 64 to the 2/3 power. That will be 1 over 3 times 64 to the 2/3 means the cubed root of 64, which is a 4, and then square the result. This will be 1 over 3 times 4 squared, which is a 16. And 3 times 16 is a 48. So this becomes 1 over 48. The formula for the linear approximation is f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a. For this problem, a is a 64, so this will be f of 64 plus f prime of 64 times x minus 64. We have values for f of 64 and f prime of 64 up here. They can be put into place so that the linear approximation will equal f of 64, which is a 4, plus f prime of 64, which is a 1 over 48, times x minus 64. F of 63.76 can be approximated with the linear approximation L of 63.76. F of 63.76 means to plug that in for x in the f of x. That will give the cubed root of 63.76. L of 63.76 means to plug that in for x in the L of x. 4 plus 1 over 48 times 63.76 minus 64, which is 4 plus 1 over 48 times 63.76 minus 64 will be a negative 0.24. The 0.24 and the 48 are both reducible by a 24. A 24 will divide into the 0.24 to become a 0.01 and into the 48 to become a 2. So this can also be written as 4 plus 1 over 2 times negative 0.01. So the cubed root of 63.76 will be approximately equal to 4 plus 1/2 times a negative 0.01 will be a negative, and half of 0.01 is 0.005. So the cubed root of 63.76 will be approximately equal to 4 minus 0.005 will be 3.995. And there's the approximate value of the cubed root of 63.76.